Thanks for joining us. I am not sure, maybe I was muted, so you didn't get our nice, live, exciting intro. But I'm so excited to have you join us for our final day of lunchtime with me, Dr. Nadine, and my special guest joining me all the way from Portsmouth in the UK. Now, before I get too excited about our session today, I would like you to put in the chat, let us know where in the world you're joining us from. In the meantime, I would like to introduce to you Jamila, who will tell you a little more about herself. Welcome, Jamila, to lunchtime with me and our special guest joining us from all over the world.
Hello, ladies. My name is Jamelia. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Jamelia Silis from Portsmouth, UK, but I'm originally from this beautiful island, St. Lucia, and I'm
Awesome.
happy to be your guest.
Awesome. You have friends joining us. We have Esther joining us from Scotland. Then we have another friend here, Ifia, joining us from Wales, UK. I guess you probably know these ladies. We
I
have
do.
Melinda, one of my good friends, joining us from St. Eustatius. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. As you come in, just drop in the chat. Let us know what part of the world you join us from. We have Trinidad and Tobago in the house. So you can see we have ladies from all over and that they just start coming in. And so, Jamila, I'm so excited to have lunch with you. I believe that we originally met in 2016 at a program in the UK, right?
Yes, we did. It was a Sabbath school program in 2016 that you came to teach us how to do an exciting Sabbath school program.
Right.
Yes. And
And
then
then,
we
then
And
we
then
met
we met
again.
again. Yes. And then we met again.
Training, right?
Yes. And another Sabbath school training for a whole weekend. So we had you for the entire weekend from Friday till Sunday morning.
Right. I
Yes.
remember that. It was so nice. I met you and some ladies from your church. I remember that first year. I think we spent the entire day in the British Union office. And then the following year, we were in some hotel, some hour. I can't remember the area.
Milton Keynes, to be exact, in Milton Keynes.
That's right.
Yes.
And since then, we stayed in touch and we've been back and forth texting each other sometimes on WhatsApp. We stayed back and forth. And somehow we ended up on a discovery call. So tell me what brought you to that discovery call and what brought you to the Speaker Mentorship Group program?
First of all, you sent out an invitation for a virtual Pregnant with Purpose.
You
And
attended.
then I joined that Pregnant with Purpose at
Okay.
first, and then you were saying to us, no matter what you're going through, you are already qualified. God has qualified you for your story. So I was like, yes, but I did not know what the story was yet. But when I back forward a bit and realized I met you in 2016 before I lost my sister. I met you in April, and then I lost my sister suddenly in 2016,
Mm.
in June. And I was saying to myself, this is not a coincidence. God has put this lady in my path for a reason. And I keep telling everybody she's my twin because our forehead are big the same way.
Oh my goodness, so you're funny. That's a good one. Yeah, that is my entire life, right? That's funny. That's a good one. So
Yes.
we meet in 2016, we met again in 2017, we stayed in touch, and you attended Pregnant with Purpose in December 20th, 2020. So
Yes.
that was a virtual event that I had. I'm actually gearing up to do 2.0 this December. And so you attended Pregnancy Purpose event, and the whole goal of that program was, first of all, to make ladies know that you're pregnant. You may not be aware of it, but there is something growing on the inside of you that you need to pay attention to because you need to give birth to it. And so now Melinda is laughing. Everybody's laughing because you talk about our big foreheads, right?
Yes.
And so now, what led you to booking that discovery call with me to get into the speaker mentorship program?
To be honest, the discovery call, the email came 3 times. The
Okay.
first time I ignored it. The second time, I ignored it. And the third time, something said to me, you need to book that discovery call one on one. And I was
Mhm.
like, really? What am I discovering? Yes, I know that I'm pregnant, but I have no idea what the baby is and what sex or what gender or what item it's going to be. So then
Right.
I said, okay, I'm going to brave it. Let me just do that one on one. So I registered for the one on one, and then we had our one on one call for 50 minutes or 60 minutes. And
Oh.
then we were talking, and then I felt the urge to speak to you about the lost in my family.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
also that one, although I had so many positive support when I lost my family members, I had only one negative comment that sting me very bad. You know, like when a bee sting you and it doesn't go away. So that sting me so bad. I was like, is it true? And I believed it a lot, and I was thinking, yes, something is wrong with my family. We maybe curse, maybe God is punishing me. I'm not doing my Christian duty well enough, because I'm the only Adventist in my immediate family, as well. So I
Mhm.
was thinking, yes, maybe God is punishing me for something. I've done something really bad. What it is I've done, God, you've taken my sister, and I haven't even healed from it. As soon as I get to the point of acceptance, I'm back to denial, I'm back to anger, I'm back to frustration and numbness. So they were just going like that. And then the final straw was when my mom died. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah,
I
that
just
was last
couldn't.
year, March. And so let me just backtrack so our viewers can understand what you're talking about. And Melinda is saying me too. So she knows or is familiar with that kind of sudden death and loss of close family members. And so we're going to backtrack a bit. So Jamila lost close family members to her, and it happened in short spaces of time, and she was not able to heal from one, and then another happened. And in the midst of doing that and trying to hold things together for her family, somebody sends a message to her and tell her, you need to check your family because something must be wrong with y'all must be cursed. Why are you losing so many members? And so that takes us to now, and the message that Jamila has for people out there because of her own experience. So Jamila, so we had that discovery call. You mentioned to me, what happened to you, the sudden deaths and how it impacted you. And now you entered the speaker mentorship group program. What was that like for you? First taking that step, and then what was that journey like for you?
Oh boy, that journey was like taking off a heavy load. I know my fellow soldiers might be listening. It's like putting down my burden and putting on that load that I was carrying. And whilst I was writing, so thankful for my lovely mentor. I was writing, she keeps saying, "Write your truth, girl. Write your truth." And sometimes, even when after the our session, I feel like you used to feel that I wasn't giving it my all. You would message me and say, "I'm not giving up on you, eh? I'm not giving up on you." And I feel, oh, mommy's talking to me. She's not going to give up on me. And most times I would say, I want to give you a hug. How can I hug you? And and then whilst I was writing, although I wasn't speaking it out loud, I was writing and I was healing. It's like an onion, firm on the outside. And as you're peeling out the layers of the onion, when you get to that little bit, the bud bit where the mushiness is, I got to that mushiness of myself and I realized, girl, you were carrying too much hurt inside. I was mad at God. Don't get me wrong. There are people I pray with you, but at the same time I was praying with you, I was mad at God. I was thinking, God, why am I serving you? I am holding so many departments in church, and
Mhm.
yet you give me that burden. You are taking them from me. You are not letting me rest.
Mhm.
He literally wasn't letting me breathe. Like somebody knees was on my neck, and I'm shouting, I want to breathe.
Wow.
But then I found my breathing space going through that 14 weeks. And I
Mm.
am forever thankful for that 14 weeks mentorship program. and God knows. And I will go back to it saying that He puts you in my path from 2016, way before I knew I was going to encounter this experience in my life.
Wow, girl, you're just making me so teary and emotional. And I have to do so much to just control myself because I saw you from the beginning of that 14-week speaker mentorship program. And I see who you are now. And I know that it was difficult for you. I felt it so many times. I reached out to you by text because I'm like, mm-mm, you're not giving it everything. You're holding back. You need to release. And I saw you go through, and I remember you were saying to me, when we had our one-on-one session, I asked you, so what was the healing journey for you? And you said, as I was writing the story, I was experiencing healing. And there's
Yes.
so many women out there, and that's why we've been putting online every day little thoughts out there because so many people are choking. So many people feeling that knee on their neck, like they can't breathe, but they refuse to open their mouth to speak their story, to speak their truth without recognizing every time you do it, you're finding yourself being healed more and more. And so you're going through the program. What were some of the greatest breakthroughs you had or your aha moments?
My aha moments, every time I hit my aha moments, I have to go back to the let me tell you, viewers, there is complimentary courses that came with our program, and we've got the prayer certified counsel
Counsel.
course. Yeah. And every time I hit my aha moment, that moment of wowness, I have to go back to that prayer module and spend some time with God, tapping back into the source, because He is the only one that lights that bulb in my head. And it's like Lucille took my current, and I had to go back and pay for my bill, and my
You
bulb
have to tell
comes
them
on.
who is Lucilec, right? Because Lucilec is the power company in St. But it's so funny. You all the way in the UK for so many years, but all the Lucians still in.
Yes.
So you felt as if every time you hit these albums, you go back to the practice because you go back to get your grounding. You go back
Yes.
to the source. And why were you going back to the source? Why were you going back to the prayer class?
Because there was scriptures that was talking to me, especially when you spoke about Hannah. When Hannah had to stay in the moment, she had to press on
Mhm.
and don't give up until she got her blessing. So I had to press on. I know it was painful, but I had to press on. There were times that I was like, oh, I don't want to write it, but I have to let it go, breathe, come leave the computer, let the tears come down, because I felt I did not mourn, because I felt people were looking at me. She's a soldier. She's a nurse. She's an ex-soldier. And
Mhm.
these are people that are strong. But we also has emotions. We also have a heart that beats, and the heart gets broken at times. So I
Mhm.
had to let that heart actually break, because too long I had this glass wall around it, and I had to squash that glass to let my heart beat again.
Wow, because you were trying to be there for everybody in your family. You
Yes,
were trying to be strong for everybody, and you totally ignored your own feelings so that you could be that strong soldier and that strongness for the family. But finally, now you're in the program and you're being pushed by me. I apologize,
yes,
but pushed by me for you to write, to get the story out, get it on paper. And that now is allowing you to go through some emotional turmoil because you were going through it. It was
yes,
affecting you, but at the same time, you were able to break that glass, but also be able to experience now finally your healing because you had kind of bottled it up,
a
right?
lot, yes, a lot,
And then there was this person who says to you, your family is probably cursed because of the loss.
yes.
What did that feel like for you? Hearing that from a church member, a friend, whoever.
It's like hearing that from the church members, like you just let me go, and the bus just came and the bus crushed me over. And I just couldn't feel. I felt all of those emotions came back, rushing back to me, and felt so numb. And at that point, maybe if she had said it at any other point when somebody else had died,
Mhm.
it wouldn't hurt me so much. It wouldn't have crushed me that much. But when she said it was when I lost my greatest supporter, which was my mother, and
Mhm.
the woman that I love so dearly. And that was the point where I was. crushing inside, and I'm feeling to myself, I cannot speak about it. Maybe I don't tell anybody that I need prayer. Don't mention that I need prayer. Just put on the front and go to church. Sit in front of Zoom, because we were in front of Zoom at the time. Just be there. People ask you, "Are you okay?" You just say, "Yes, I'm fine." But deep inside, you are actually dying. And I
Mhm,
never expected it to come out of a Christian perspective. I would rather it come from one of my friends out there
mhm,
who who say they don't believe in God or anything, would have said that to me, and I would have easily accepted it. But when
mhm,
it came from a church member, it was really hard. It was what had reached the broken point. And it was a voice note. So I could have listened to the voice note over and over and over. If it was a text message, you can delete it. But when it's a voice note and you click on that voice note, it just keeps playing and playing. And then I had to, it's whilst we were going through that, whilst I was going through my journey during the speaker mentorship course, I got the courage to delete that voice note. I
wow,
delete that voice note, and I delete a whole set of literature that that person also sent to me that I
wow.
had to read. But I never said that to you. So that was on my phone, a whole set of literatures that she was telling me that I need to start from this point to that point. And I was like, no, I don't even have the strength to pray. Am I going to have the strength to read?
Mm, mm.
So, yes, it
Maybe
crushed me.
my initial reaction would is like surprise, but I'm just wanting to think maybe she meant well, in sending the literature. But I mean, the contents of the voice note was a bit harsh, and I
Yes,
know that at the time you're mourning, you're in the midst of mourning for your mom, and you're trying to be strong for everybody, which means you're not even paying attention to your grief and the loss that you have, and then that kind of message tells me about how much more sensitive and compassionate we need to be as Christians. We find
yes,
ourselves in positions to so easily judge people and their situations, and then to make a judgment when somebody's already so down that your family is probably cursed. When you're in that place, is not a good thing. So I think it's probably a lesson for all of us in compassion, because I believe
yeah,
being compassionate, and I think that we need more compassion as Christians, because too many of us are judges. Too many of us, we so perfect, we have it all put together, that everybody else, we find ourselves just pointing the finger at them. And so I'm really sorry that you had to go through that, and you held that voice message over a year, because your mom died last March 2020,
yeah.
and you got the courage as we went through the program and as you were healing to delete it. I'm happy that you were able to reach that point. So give me a tangible breakthrough that you had, because I know you deleted stuff. I know you cried. I know you broke down. Are there any other breakthroughs that you had as you went through the program, and also the supporting modules of other programs that you had?
Another breakthrough that I had to reach out to a counselor for my 8-year-old niece,
Mm-hmm.
because she also lost her mother, which
Mm,
was my sister. And then she now was living with my mom, which was a granny who took her everywhere. So therefore, she herself was grieving.
wow.
And we didn't realize that she was grieving, but she was exhibiting behaviors that was out of the ordinary. So I had to reach out during that time. It led me to realize, whilst you are healing, you are writing, but there are your other family members, there are people, the smaller ones, that
Mm,
need help. So I had to reach out to that lady to ask her if she could provide some counseling for my niece.
wow. So
And
not only are you healing, but now you're being able to help other family members who are also affected. That's just so powerful. We have some comments here for you. Your friend Esther says she remember that time. She said you are strong. Then we have Tarika saying losing a loved one is never easy, but God has been bringing you through. Jamila, his strength has been made perfect for you. So proud of you. Leandra, who is now in the speaker mentorship program and the group program in the new cohort, she says, I truly understand how you feel. The weight is heavy to bear until God sends us someone who can help us navigate through the grief and problems. Esther says she understands. Ah, your friend says, I hope that person is listening and learning. Well, we hope so too. And all of us can also just learn the lessons from it as well. Melinda says, God gives his strongest battles to his strongest soldiers. Our experience is to empower others like you. Praise God. You can share, and that Satan was not able to hold you down. Your testimony is a blessing. And so, Jamila, you went through the program, you got some breakthroughs, you were able to heal from something that you were holding on to because you had it bottled inside. You were able to break that bottle, let the tears flow. And we know that the pain may never go away because the loss is there. But
Yes.
now that you're focusing on helping others, because Jamila's work is to really help and empower and educate women who have these sudden death, grief, and loss situations to understand that it's a part of life and not seen through the lens of the taboos, such as your family is cursed. So, Jamila, now that you are where you are in your mind, because you've made significant shifts, you've released certain things, you've accepted the death. And the irony is, you dealt with death on your job, right?
Yes, I do. I do. And especially during the COVID period, people were sent to isolate, and then the workforce became a lot for some nurses with no conditions that needed isolating from the pandemic. And we were in the middle of the pandemic at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And and during that time, before my mom died, because I had a month with her whilst we were in the pandemic, before she died, she used to call me every night to pray with me. Every night she will pray and say, my daughter, I'm covering you under the blood. And then she was praying. So when she died, I felt I lost that. But when I came into the program, I regained that. I regained a mother. I regained you telling me, I'm praying for you, Ali. Don't ever think I'm going to leave you all. I'm praying. And you constantly remind us, ladies, whilst I was praying for you, I saw that in my spirit for you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I love, that God has put me in the path of somebody who's so spiritual, someone that is going to lift you up when you are down, someone that can feel you going down before you even sink and tell you, I can feel you going. Come back, get up, let's walk, because your story is a beautiful story that needs to be told.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so relieved right now, I can say it. I'm turning my pain into purpose.
Hallelujah.
And I am glad of the journey that I'm going on. And I cannot wait to see what's next, what's in store, what's going to happen, because that baby is about to come. And
Hello,
it's
push,
coming fast.
push, push. So, Jamila, we have ladies who are listening who are empowered by your story, who know what the pain of loss is because they too have lost loved ones. They probably never even spoke about it publicly, about the true feelings that they had, because they probably were feeling like they were going to be judged. What do
Yeah.
you want to say to these ladies today?
What I want to say to this ladies, these are your honest truth. If you need to let it out, because the longer you keep something bottled up, it's going to suffocate you in the end.
Mercy.
You are going to be the one who's going to lose the grip, not the people out there who's going to judge you.
Mm,
Because when you speak it, you
mm,
speak your shame, and you already know that's what people think about me anyway. So you have already spoken it, you've let it out, you've play all your cards on the table, and you've just let it out. You walk gracefully like this woman with no shame, your head's up high, and you can stand in front of anyone and say, this is what I was going through. This
mm,
is where it was pushing me to. This is where I was going. I felt I was in a tunnel, and that tunnel needed to I need to see the light, because the deeper you go down into the darkness, you need to get up and go towards the light. And talking about the hurt, the pain, the denial, the guilt, the anger is pushing you closer towards the light. So you do not be ashamed to talk about it. Do not be ashamed to feel guilty, because we are human. We have to feel guilty
mm,
that if I was there, I could have something could have been different, but
Mhm.
sometimes we are not around and we have to speak about it. We have to let people know this is how I'm feeling. Don't ask me if I'm fine. Have you got 5 minutes? Can I talk to you? Can I offload to you? Because sometimes I felt if somebody only stood and let me offload, I
Mm.
wouldn't sink.
Good.
I would have been rising above it.
Wow, that's so powerful because the thing is, you had to go through that process of not being able to share your true feelings, of being strong for everybody else, and now you're taking that pain that you have, turn it into purpose to help others in their own experiences because of what you've been through and the lack that you had when you were in that situation. Again, you're teaching us lessons that we can learn when people are dealing with death, with grief and loss, that instead of asking how are you doing, obviously I'm not fine, but how may I support you today, possibly? Or
Yeah,
do you want to speak today about what you're feeling? We're not counselors, but it doesn't mean that we cannot feel with other people or empathize and be there with them. And so for me, it's just like a whole bunch of lessons we're learning from your personal experience of how we can deal with death, grief, and loss when others are going through it through your
yeah,
personal experience. And that's why I'm so excited that you are dedicating your life to empower and educate and support women and even families, anybody, to understand that when you're going through death, grief, and loss, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you, which is what you had to come to the point of realizing. Nothing was wrong with my family. And I'm so excited about your vulnerability in saying that you were angry at God, that you had questions, that you felt like, okay, something may be wrong for real, and what have I done, what, and stuff like. And it brings me to the story of Job and losing so much but yet trusting God. And so we have encouragement as well, that even when we have sudden death as he experienced, and loss and different things, that we can still hold on, because death, as your message is very clear, is a natural part of life. And when we're able to see it from that angle, maybe it may be a little easier for us to navigate through the feelings that we're having when we go through that kind of stuff.
yes.
Okay, we have Leandra saying, I suffer from PTSD from watching my brother die in front of me. I definitely will need to talk with you as time will permit. Yeah, I could almost
Thank you.
imagine. Because I know one of the things that happened to you, Jamila, you mentioned when you were speaking a while ago, was the blame that you put on yourself and the guilt that you were carrying, because you were feeling to yourself, if I was there, this would not have happened. If I was there, maybe my mother would not have died, maybe my sister would not have died. And you carried that guilt for so long. What can
Yeah.
you say to people who have experienced that sudden loss and feel that same guilt? What can you say to them?
You have to come to the point to let it go because death is natural. We learn that death is a part of the life cycle and
Mhm.
it's natural. It will happen. It might happen sooner than we expect, or it might happen. We might have a little time with the person, but sometimes we don't get the chance to be with the person for so long. But death will happen. It will happen. We all know that it's going to happen. The Bible tells us it's going to happen. We
Mhm.
do not know when, we do not know how, but it will happen. So
Mhm.
sometimes we just need to let grieve, feel your pain, punch the wall, do whatever you have to do. But learn to let go and don't keep all the blame on you because the blame doesn't belong to you. God has already made a way for us. He's already told us that He will not leave us nor forsake us. We
Mhm.
will go through the darkest time, just like Job was, but God is always there. I
Mhm.
did not see his footstep, but he was carrying me whilst I was there. Sometimes when I was lying there, he was lying next to me.
Mhm.
So we have to let it go. Let go of the guilt.
Mhm.
Because there's nothing you could have done differently. If
Mhm.
it's the part of a natural cycle that the person is going to die, they're going to die. But
Mhm.
we just need to love and keep the memory inside of us and just let it go. Do not blame yourself because you cannot keep blaming yourself for death.
Wow, girl, I am so proud of you that you've come to this point of letting go of that guilt and the blame that you had on yourself for just thinking that if I was then, so people are carrying that guilt. So
Yeah.
you are on a mission now to help women to be able to know that, you know what? It's a natural part of the life cycle. And how I say to myself is that from the day that we're born, we're beginning to die. We know it's going to happen. And if it's not you burying your mom, it's your mom burying you. Something or the other. It's a part, as you said, part of the cycle of life. And so, Jamila, folks are listening to you, they're encouraged by your testimony. They need somebody to come and speak to this thing about loss, about death, about grief, and the fact that it is a part of the natural life cycle. If they're looking to connect with you, to book you to speak for their church, for an organization, a community group, whatever it is, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on Facebook. My
No.
name is Jamelia Silis on Facebook. It's the same on LinkedIn, Jamelia Silis. On
Mm-hmm,
Instagram, it's Jamelia Silis, and on my YouTube page as well, which
mm-hmm.
is still Jamelia Silis. I also have got an email address, which is my full name, jameliasilis@gmail.com. This is only for people who wants to reach me and to talk about grief and loss.
Awesome. Okay, so that email address is jamilasilis@gmail.com. If you're looking to book her for a speaking engagement, that is exactly where you want to reach her at jamilasilis@gmail.com. It's not a place to just chat. You can find her on social media. This is her business account where she's booking her engagements. And you know what? Your friends are saying, I can so relate. Thanks for stepping out, my friend. Colin says, Jamila, good stuff. We have Beverly saying, I can see your passion in your testimony. Powerful. That is a ministry that's needed. Thank you so much, Bev, for joining us. And Leandra says, thanks for encouraging words. Blessings on you. Let God shine through you. And so, ladies, we are so grateful that you joined us for lunch today. We're also thankful that you joined us for the entire week. And so we look forward to seeing you next month. I believe it will be the last week or so, where we'll have another lunchtime series featuring 5 other ladies who went through the speaker mentorship program and so on, who are at that point of launching their speaking platforms and making their mark in the world. So, Jamila, as we close, tell us what's next for you and who would you recommend the speaker mentorship group program for?
What next for me is that I'll be working with my wonderful coach, Dr. Nadine Collins, to produce a beautiful book. I haven't got the title yet, but it will birth.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be producing a book, and also um, I would still be taking some engagement just to talk about my testimony and how I've gone through the losses in my family. And I want to thank you so much, Dr. Nadine, because without
Why are you
you,
calling me Nadine? You are
Nadine,
Nadine is my name. You are solution. What is this thing about Nadine?
thank you so much, Dr. Nadine, because you were the answer to our prayers. Sometimes we didn't even pray, but God sent the angel to catch you before you hit the ground. And I'm so blessed to have had you in my life for so many times, so long.
Yes.
And the ladies in the group, I'm so proud of them. They're like cheering each other up. We're always cheering each other up. I joined the group not knowing anyone, but we came out as family. And I'm so thankful for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm proud of all of you and I'm happy for the sisterhood that you all have created. And again, ladies, if you're out there, you have a story to tell, you don't know where to begin, you're probably fearful of telling your story. Jamila was one of the most scared ladies in the group. And I'm so proud to see her sitting here today, sharing her story so powerfully and these beautiful nuggets that every single one of us can learn from as we develop more compassion when we're dealing with people who are experiencing sudden death, they're grieving, or they have some loss in their families. So, Jamila, thank you so much. Thank you for just allowing me to go through this journey with you. It was a pleasure seeing you grow, a pleasure seeing you just let go, and just a pleasure seeing you moving forward in life because you know that there is more meant for you. And I look forward to working with you and the other ladies for
Yes.
project.
Anybody, don't give up. Just message her. She's the best. She's amazing. Don't hold back on your fears. Just step in faith.
Yeah, God is good, and to Him be all the glory and the honor. Because if it had to be left up to me and just a life, maybe I couldn't show up. But this is all about God, and that's we see. It's just Him showing up every time. Sharon says this was a great week. Awesome blessings to everyone. Melinda says lunch was delicious. Thank you so much for having lunch with us. Ladies, see you next time when either I do a live training or at our next lunchtime series sometime in October, I believe the week of the 20 something thereabout. We look forward to having lunch with you again. And so God bless you all. Have a lovely weekend. And Jamila, thanks again for gracing us with your lovely presence. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thanks to you. Bye.